Hey, what's up, Boneheads? We've got another Bonehead recipe today, and it's a quarantine special. We're still stuck inside with all this coronavirus. So the best thing about being an outdoorsman, our freezers are always full. We've always got meat in there. So I decided let's just make a random episode today. I went to the freezer, kind of went through to see what I've got for meat, and I stumbled upon something a little interesting that we're gonna give a go today. I actually found some moose steak. So if you're not sure how I got moose, you have obviously not been watching our episodes, because earlier this season, we were out duck hunting. We had a moose wander into our spread and we shot him. That's a lie. I'm just kidding. We did not shoot a moose. I actually have a coworker who had some moose meat. They reached out to me. They know I like wild game and cooking different things, and asked if I'd be interested in a couple moose steaks. So I took them up on it. I've never had moose. I've never cooked moose. And so I thought, well, we'll film it, and either it'll be a big success or a disaster or fall somewhere in the middle. So here we are, quarantine special with BoneHead Waterfowl, making moose steaks. So real quick, I'm gonna do this I'm gonna do this pretty much the same way. I'm gonna cut this steak into two pieces. It's a pretty big piece of meat, as you're gonna see. It's been in a honey bourbon marinade for about 12 hours now. I'm gonna rinse it off, dry it, season it with a little bit of Montreal steak seasoning, and then it's actually going to go into the Sous Vide, which is kind of a water bath. It's going to cook to about 125 degrees, so I'm going to run that for just over an hour. And then I'm going to finish the steaks two different ways. One is going to be a quick sear on the grill at about 500-600 degrees, and then I'm also going to have a cast iron skillet on the grill. I'm going to throw a little butter on there and sear it. So we're going to have two different finishes on these steaks, and we'll see how they turn out. So BoneHead Waterfowl, quarantine special, making moose steak. Stay tuned. All right, so I went ahead and got this moose steak out earlier today, I guess the beginning of the day. Got it in a marinade. I wasn't joking about how big a piece of meat this is. It's a big steak. So first thing we're gonna do is just go ahead and rinse this thing off. So we're gonna lay this out. It looks like it's a little bit of two pieces of meat here, two different parts. So I'm just gonna come right here and make a clean cut. So here are my two steaks now. Two nice sized moose steaks. You could have, two people could eat these, one steak for each. All right, so one thing you want to put in here, I always do this with any type of steak, is go ahead and just put some butter in here. And as this cooks in that water bath, that butter is going to melt. And so you're basically cooking this meat in the seasoning and the butter. So just kind of spread that out. Just like that. We've got our two steaks in there. They've been seasoned with Montreal steak seasoning. We got some butter in there, so that's going to melt down, give it kind of a liquid to cook in. Still a little bit of marinade on there, but for the most part it's been washed off. It's vacuum sealed. So we're going to drop this into our tub. Just hang the lip of this vacuum sealed bag over the edge and close the lid on that. That'll hold it in place. Get the whole thing of meat submerged. We're going to let it cook. I have it set right now to cook at 125 degrees. That's it. That's the max temperature I want it to hit, and it's going to cook for about 1:20. So I'm going to let that go. About 30 minutes before that's done, I'm going to go out, I'm going to crank up my grill, start to get the temperature hot out there, that cast iron and the grill grates nice and hot. Because when this comes out, I'm going to dry it, I'm going to season it again, I'm going to sear it, and then we're going to be close to eating. So here we go, into the water bath. All right, guys, moose steak's been in the sous vide for about 1:20, set at that 125 degree temp. I got the grill piping hot. It's at like 600 degrees or more right now, and we're gonna have grill grate, so it's gonna be even hotter than that. I'm gonna pull this out. I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit more seasoning. It's gonna go straight out there. We're gonna sear it for about a minute on each side. One steak's gonna go directly on the grill grates, open flame. The other one, I'm gonna throw just a little bit of butter. I'm gonna grab that now so I don't forget about it. I'm just gonna throw a little bit of butter in the cast iron skillet. We're gonna hit that in there as well, about a minute each side. Pull it, bring it in like any meat. You just want to let that meat rest for about 5 minutes. Then we're gonna dig into it. I've never had it, so see if it's good.
It cooks in that butter bath, so oh, it's gonna have good flavor. It smells delicious. All right, so we got our first steak out. This one's a little bit smaller, so I think it's gonna be a little bit better candidate for the cast iron pan.
All right, here we go. Now the cast iron skillet didn't get quite as hot as I would have liked, so we didn't get quite the sear. And I had a minor grease fire. Clean your smokers, swap out the foil. You'll thank me later. All right, so we're gonna try a bite of these moose steak. So still some good pink in there, which that's what you get with that sous vide. Hold that up to this camera here. But some definite pink in there. This is the finish in the cast iron skillet. So moose meat in a honey bourbon marinade, sous vide for an hour 25 at 125 degrees, finished on a 600 degree grill, cast iron finish. Wow. That's delicious. That is absolutely delicious. So next up, this is that grill finish, or the one that I finished on the grill. Look at that color. Perfect. It's a thin steak, but it's still got great color in there. It's got that red. Let me get that shot. That is a great finish on a small steak like that. So this is what we got. This is that grill finish directly on the grates. It's got those good grill marks. Oh, it's tender. All right. I'm not kidding you. That is amazing. That is so good right there. That is, wow. You could serve that to anybody. They're not going to complain about it. If they like red meat, oh my goodness. Again, moose steak cut in half. All we did was a little honey bourbon marinade for about 12 hours. Rinse that off, season it, Montreal steak seasoning, a couple pads of butter. Goes in the sous vide for hour and a half, hour 20, hour and a half at 125 degrees. Finished on a hot grill, about a minute each side. And I mean, this is perfect. Great color. You got that char, those grill marks on the outside. So tender. That, phenomenal. There you have it, guys. There is a moose steak finished 2 ways with the sous vide. That's one of the best pieces of wild game I've ever had. So hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. It was a quarantine special. Hey, something good's coming from all this Corona. You just found yourself a new recipe. Have a good one.